Okay. So the question is, so what inspired me to pick up a camera? What inspired me to pick up a camera? So I think that in order to understand what inspired me to pick up a camera, I think you have to go back to 2014, where my love for film was first developed. When I was 16, I just found film to be immensely mesmerizing, because up until that point, every single creative endeavor that I participated in, I felt that it was very, very concrete, and it was something that was really, I think, for lack of a better term, written. I just had this desire to screenwrite, and so I wanted to find a way to like document those experiences and to just, you know, creatively encompass something different. And so I wanted a camera, and so the first camera that I got is a Nikon D3300, which I still use to this day. It's a great feeling when you get those negatives back, and when you see your results, and when you see just how crazy the photos that you can take honestly are. And it's just that feeling of fulfillment. I think that feeling of fulfillment is something that is present in all mediums of art, but specifically in photography, because I feel like nowadays, with the invention of cell phones, I feel like everybody now feels as though that they're a photographer. They don't need to invest in a DSLR or a mirrorless camera. I feel like they all just think that they can just do the same things and then they can be totally fine with it. But in my opinion, I feel like the people who really value the art of photography, they really just take the time and they admire not only their work but their contemporaries' work, and they learn from it. And I've learned from so many people that have been around me, so many people that I've admired from afar. And so that really inspired me to just take 5 disposable cameras that I bought on Amazon to FYFest 2017 for a 3-day festival. And I shot Run the Jewels, Anderson .Paak, Frank Ocean, MGMT. I shot all of these wonderful artists. But when I got those negatives for the first time, it was the most disheartening feeling, because I was shook, because the negatives were so bad. Like, my work was like, it sucked, because like, one thing that I realized about these disposable cameras is that you need to understand how to utilize flash. You need to understand that you only have one shot, and there's 27 shots on each roll of film that you get with that disposable camera. So it's like, once that's done, your shot's done, and you can't take multiple pictures like you can with digital cameras or with like your phone camera. And so that immediately made me sad. There were still some good photos. I was still able to like round about 10 good photos and like post them on social media. But overall, it was just a sad experience, in my opinion. And I don't know what made me do it again, but I saw SZA in September and I loved her performance. And I got the chance to see her again in November, and this time I had 2 disposable cameras. And these 2 disposable cameras, one of them was supposed to be for the Infinity Room at the Broad in Los Angeles, and the other was supposed to be for SZA. But I ended up not going to the Broad, and so I just had 2 disposable cameras. And so I was just like, you know what? Let me just use these and let me see what I can do with this. And I was really satisfied with the results, because the lighting on SZA's stage was like so, like, just incredible. Like, the way that some lights would like have like a purple bluish layer, and some of them would like be just like black, and like how half the stage would be lit, half the stage wouldn't be, and how there was a soul beam on her that really accentuated her skin. It was just something that made me interested. And so after that experience, I just came to the conclusion that every concert I'm going to go to in 2018, I'm shooting on film. And the reason why I want to shoot on film, and I've shot on film for Khalid's show, Daniel Caesar's show, I've shot for Vince Staples, Jaden Smith, Tyler the Creator, Brockhampton, these 2 small artists named Odie and Still Woozy. And what that has taught me is that photography is truly an art form. And I think that that art form is what continually keeps me going. And a different eye and a different lens for these types of things. And I don't know, I just feel like shooting on film has really taught me the value of not just the artist on stage when I shoot shows, but also the people behind the scenes, such as the team that takes care of the lighting and the stage designs and stuff like that. It makes you really notice the little things that people tend to overlook. And also, one thing that I learned about shooting on film is that when you try to edit film, it doesn't look as good as it does when it's raw, unfiltered, and whatnot. And though I did that for my DSLR, like I first started and I was editing my pictures and I was trying to make it look as like intricate and as very precisely detailed as possible, what I realized is more is less sometimes and less is more sometimes. And though those statements can be intertwined, I feel like altogether, when you reach the epicenter and you reach the middle and the crux of that statement, what you get is film photos. And so that's what really inspired me to shoot film photos. That's what inspired me to submit film photos as opposed to submitting DSLR photos, because I feel like film photos, you need to be extremely precise and you need to be extremely in the moment, and you only have a limited amount, especially with these disposable cameras in your film rolls. Like when I go to shows, I have to literally think about how I'm going to use my 27 shots. And I think that a lot of the times when we have digital cameras, yes, we can get more shots, but we have more of a chance to get a better shot. Well, I feel like you have to be so in tune and in the moment. Like you can't be on your phone like filming an artist. You have to, because like sometimes when I go to shows, I see some photographers doing that when they have the press passes and whatnot. I feel like you have to be in tune, you need to be focused, and you need to just get the best result that you could possibly get. And so that's basically what basically inspires me to continue with my camera. I think that honestly, the actual device doesn't matter. I feel like the eye and I feel like the talent matters the most, and so I think that's ultimately what inspired me to pick up a camera, is the fact that you can be such a creative and you can differentiate yourself so well, but at the same time you can be amongst a huge pool of people. And I think that that desire to just create something different and to just see something different than what I normally see is what keeps me going to this point. And that's why I feel like, honestly, my desire for photography now is becoming more and more accentuated the more I grow. And I'm only 20 years old now, so I feel like by the time I'm 25, it's going to be at an all-time high, and that high is just going to keep getting higher and higher, so yeah.